Can we have the pictures of all our panelists on? Yeah. I think it'll be nice if people can just raise their hand if they want to make a comment. But really from this older age, there was a study of younger age as well. And what struck me was that we were also wanting to look at whether there were any intervention studies done. And it seems there were none because Umair has not listed them. So again, is this something, and I'll probably first start with my colleagues from the UK, whether they have any thoughts or whether they're aware of any intervention work that has been done regarding gender or the demographic factors. So Christine, Tracy, anyone, do you want to make a comment on this?
Yes, Tracy.
Hi, Nasim. Yeah, so that very interesting work. I think it's really important to identify the risk factors before. So obviously my area of interest and expertise is around the care that we provide for women who've had a stillbirth or a neonatal death. So they're a group who are at high risk of developing mental health issues. Your systematic review reflects the state of intervention evaluation. So I think in high income countries we have developed interventions to support parents to some extent, but I think there's a real lack of evaluation.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else with any thoughts, any suggestions? Because we're just starting on this. This review we'll continue with the review. Is there anything missing that needs to be added?
Can I just say, I'm not aware of any interventions. I did actually run a preconception clinic in the late 1980s. That was one of the very first ones. I ran that at Stockport before I went into education. And there's been very little done since. And we are aware of a lot of lifestyle issues and the impact of gender, etc. But unless, I think it doesn't really get addressed clinically unless people have difficulties getting pregnant.
Can I make a comment, Nasim?
Yes, please.
One of the things we are trying to look at in these 5 different areas is aligned with Sustainable Development Goals, that in this section, if we focus on, say, demographics. So demographics, there are 2 findings which Umair presented. One, older age, and then younger age. So they're kind of conflicting findings. Half of the studies are saying older. So one of the things maybe looking at such studies in a bit more detail may be helpful. What are the other factors? Because one of the things which had come out in depression studies in general is when they talk about extended families and the role of in-laws. In one part of Pakistan, it was protective factor, while in the other part of Pakistan, it was a risk factor. And it was the other environmental circumstances where mothers and women had to go to work. In-laws were a protective factors. Where women were staying at home, were homemakers, that was a risk factor. So we maybe need to look at that in a bit more detail. I think the other work which Bill Gates and a foundation has been supporting is some kind of preventive work around early marriages, teenage pregnancies, that kind of work has been going on. Is any work, I'm sure there were at times, there were concerns within the UK as well. Tracy, yeah?
Yeah, so there have been, I think the context is very different. We had a major issue with high numbers of teenage pregnancies in the up until the last few years, really. So there was the teenage pregnancy strategy was introduced in the UK, I can't quite give you the date off the top of my head, but what I do know, so that was a sort of public health campaign with sort of multiple strands of intervention, targeting different issues, but for a lot of girls in the UK it was unintended pregnancies through early sexual activity, and not particularly early marriage, but that has been actually very successful. So there are probably elements of some of the public health messaging particularly, and I think some of that was around trying to encourage girls in the UK to think about what else they wanted apart from having a child very early in life. So I know some of that was very, and Christine probably could speak to some of that as well.
Yeah, that was sort of in the late 80s. The public health strategies around teenage pregnancy, and there was targeted interventions around the UK as well, like in Manchester and Stockport it was very high, and I mean it was more about it was capturing them when they were pregnant more, and then to stop them or prevent future pregnancies. And they included education. We had specialist midwifery roles and health visiting roles that were developed to support them as well, and that those strategies have been quite successful.
Thank you, Christine.
Teenagers.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you. You've put in the chat a publication. Do you just want to briefly mention about it here?
Yeah, I won't take too much time because of publication, but I've read it before, and it basically talks about the implementation of the UK's 10-year strategy targeting teenage pregnancy, and it has quite a lot of detail about different things that were done, and it's probably a good starting point when you're looking at how to maybe implement some of the strategies in Pakistan as well.
Thank you, Farah. So anybody else wanting to? Yeah,
I've got one more comment.
Yeah.
I think the other thing which Omer mentioned about in demographic is ethnicity, and I think that is we did not find anything about. We have got different ethnic group across Pakistan, so there was not much about which ethnic group has like better outcomes or poorer outcomes. We can learn about maybe those cultural practices within those ethnic groups. So that may be another area to look at when you continue with your review, is has there been any such work, and can we look at it?
I think Dr. Munazza wants to say something.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to add, when Tracy mentioned saying that the issue of getting pregnant at an early age, the issue there is very different from what we have in Pakistan, because there may be the only girl herself, or maybe the counterpart is related. But here, the whole family getting that child or the girl married is involved. So we need to work on a total mindset here when we're talking about Pakistan or our Southeast Asian countries, where the father and the mother and the grandparents and everybody is involved getting the girl married off at an early age. The fact itself that she's married or not married is not the thing. The thing is that she's being stressed by the whole family. So we need to work on the awareness of the whole community, not only just those girls or the actual involved people, but the whole lot needs to be sort of made aware of the situation. That's what I wanted to comment.
We can take one final comment because
Dr. Noreen wants to say something. So very quickly, last comments. Thank you for reminding us.
As an anthropologist, I believe that I'm taking up on my respected colleagues that we need to focus more holistically on the research, because we are living in a collectivist culture. It's not just the couple or the girl It's the, you know, the whole area around her, whole set of relationship, parents and everybody. So my suggestion is that we need to come up with a more holistic, qualitative research that would be more appropriate to have the real picture of the phenomenon that we are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Noreen, for your comment. When we are at the end of the discussion, it will be useful to see what you suggest in terms of what else could we add. Thank you.
Thank you.